So let's talk about nail care.
Let's talk about nail care because I feel like this is something we recently got into.
I would say that very loosely. Recently dabbled in.
Yeah.
A little bit of dipped our toe in.
Well, I mean,
or our fingers.
Right. I don't regularly get manicures and pedicures, but I would like to be somebody who does. I love it when I get a manicure and a pedicure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I could probably fold into my life a little more frequently.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to the salon to get a manicure and a pedicure?
No, I haven't, because I'm not as privileged as you are.
Oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
You love it when I call you out for
Mm-hmm.
privilege.
You do.
And then you like to throw it back. That's right.
Girl, if there ain't a thing called fairness.
Listen,
then-
we recognize,
Mm-hmm.
we understand. Mm-hmm.
No, I've never been.
This came, yes. Well, we should go sometime. That would be a great time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times salons will do a good deal on a manicure pedicure combo. Gone are the days when it was like $20 for a manicure and a pedicure. I think that's no longer a thing.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Which is back when that was a thing that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
When you're in
should
your
go
younger
sometime.
days, darling.
Yes,
Yeah.
in our younger years.
Mm-hmm.
No, we should go.
Yeah.
No, but we have both started to get into the world of painting our nails. And
Yeah, and what a pain in the ass.
I know, right?
I'm like,
I mean,
wait,
it's
hang
great
on.
and it's worth it.
Hang on, everybody. People who paint your nails, good for you. Like on a regular basis, like because
A nail care is it takes time and energy and like
intention. It's like I am
intention
setting a time aside
and schedule.
and scheduling this time for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, also the removal. That's the harder thing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I'm like, yeah, we should have figured out a way to like get this off quicker, because I feel like that's the thing that's the annoying part of it.
Everyone, welcome to the conversation so many of you have been having for years and years and years that some of us are just now
Waking up to.
enlightening ourselves to.
Does nail polish removal take too much time? I'm tired of wasting your day rubbing your nails off with cotton balls and acetone.
There are those like great, like it's like a little jar and you open it and you basically just dip your nail into a sponge and it's covered in
Acetone.
Yeah, the removal stuff, and then you pull it out and wipe it off and it's gone.
Okay.
So it may be that you just need to find
I have to
the
invest
other
a little bit more.
solutions, investigate a little bit more, because I think they're out there for you.
Okay.
That's right.
Great.
What nail colors have you explored that you've enjoyed?
Just a teal blue and then a black. Because I'm a dark girl.
That's right. Yeah, I also did the teal blue because we were together, and I think at some point I've done like a dark purple. I mean, I've done clear coats for a long time. Right. But another thing I did for a long time was I did get a color that was similar to the color of my fingernail already, and then I like painted it that. And I really liked that. I was really into that, and I might go back to that. Why not? But things we began to explore here in Pinnacles National Park, for at least some of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Because our dear friend Cynthia had some nail polish.
And we had a nail salon evening.
We did have a nail salon evening where we sat at the campsite and painted each other's nails. And some of us did beautiful work on each other. And then some of us did mid-tier work on each other. That's right.
You allow that comment to land however you want.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Some of us had to walk around with mid-tier nails the next day.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Because of some other people's skill and abilities.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard when you talk about yourself like this. I don't love it when you're down on yourself.
I'm looking for adventure, I wanna follow on the trail, or get a little lost and let the wind fill my sails. Get up when the stars still fill the sky, don't wake the sun, there's so much to be done, and the day has just begun. Go where the postcards are real, you can feel, you can open your eyes, and open your heart when you gaze at the national park. At the national park. At the national park. Follow you, I'll I'll follow you there.
We would like to acknowledge that while visiting and hiking the land, also known as Pinnacles National Park, we were on the traditional and stolen land of the Popolauchem, Shillone, and Ohlone people.
All right, so this is still our first day in Pinnacles National Park. Pinnacles is a relatively small national park.
In California.
It's one of the 7, I think, that California has.
I thought it was more than that. We're not going to count them right now.
Because 9, Alaska has 9.
I thought California had 8. But anyway, this was on a trip that we went to Pinnacles on we started in Death Valley and we explored Death Valley and then we came over to Pinnacles National Park. And I know you just went over there and counted. So how many did you count?
I didn't count fully because my brain stopped.
Okay.
But I'm wrong. I'm for sure wrong. It's not 7. Because you've got Redwoods, Lassen, you have Pinnacles, Death Valley, Kings Canyon, Sequoia, Yosemite, Channel Islands, and Joshua Tree.
Yeah. Which
so
is
9.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so 9 and 9.
Yeah. Unless you count like Kings Canyon and Sequoia as 1. Sometimes that happens. Then you have 8. So we're here on our first day hiking in Pinnacles National Park. In our previous episode, Bear Gulch Caves, we had traveled up the Moses Spring Trail, and we had explored the Bear Gulch Caves. Mm-hmm. Now, are these real caves, Mike?
They aren't real caves, not as we know them to be.
And why is that?
Because they are not formed subterraneously.
That's right.
Subterraneous?
They aren't subterraneous, but I like this invention of this word, subterraneally. They are not that. No. They are created from pinnacles falling off like the top of, like pinnacles are like
rock spires, apparently.
Rock spires that have like shot up out of the ground. Sometimes those break and fall. And when they fall on top of each other and you crawl up through and underneath them, it feels like a cave, right, which is what these are.
Right. Some are more densely packed than others, so it is much darker within them, and some have more light breaking through. A lot of the times it feels like in some of the caves, you're almost like heading through a slot canyon that is covered over the top of, or partially covered over the top of.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we explored these caves in the last episode. This is a continuation from there. And we will have a total of 4 episodes in Pinnacles, 3 of which will be our first day, 1 of which will be our second day. Things to look forward to are the High Peaks Trail today, then later the Blue Oak Trail, then later the Balcony Cliffs Trail.
Exactly. So from the cave system, we make our way up to the Rim Trail, and it's to the right of where we came into the reservoir.
We had ended our last episode at a reservoir. It was a very peaceful water formation right here. Shortly after the Bear Gulch Caves, we sat on a rock. We met some folks. We took some photos. We took a little break, and now we've continued on. And as we continue onto this rim trail, it kind of goes incline pretty fast.
Yeah. This is where we have a nice kind of fauna spotter in Cynthia. I'm sorry, a flora spotter. I guess fauna too. She does it all, but she's very interested in the flora of whatever area we're hiking in. She spotted some different types of flowers, of which included blue dicks and Chinese purple houses.
While we were walking in this area, I heard a bird I was unfamiliar with, checked the powers that be, the apps, and it was a beeswick wren, and it was just sitting on a rock, holding court, doing its thing, but it was very loud. Wrens do tend to be loud. They tend to be very loud. And this one was loud, wanted to fill up the space.
We get to a pinnacle outcropping on the right that people can go up on, and there is a giant rock out in the valley between 2 sets of pinnacles that we basically reach. This giant rock, as we arrive, that's kind of like jutting out into the valley between these sets of pinnacles. And so myself, Becky, and Cynthia head up. You, who were a little bit behind because you were kind of like trying to identify birds, you were also taking photos, and so you eventually catch up. And as we've discovered of you of late, you have also built some liquid courage when it comes to heights, because you do join us out on this rock. Now, it's pretty wide. It's not a very narrow rock, but it still is pretty high up from the valley floor below. So could you fall? Yeah.
This sounds like I had to take a shot of alcohol prior to doing anything, because you said liquid courage.
Well, that's to carry your flask all the time in the national parks. It's a problem. This isn't an episode. It's an intervention.
We're going to rewrite this narrative that you've just built. in as a bit. What you mean is that I have a fear of heights that
you need liquid courage to get over.
That through now years of what has become exposure therapy has subsided a bit, which is true. So things like that don't bother me anymore. So I did go
because
out
of
onto the big rock. There it is. Yep. I get it from you. Because you're my dealer.
Of booze, yeah.
Uh-huh. This was a beautiful view here, this one spot.
You can kind of get a really nice panorama from here.
You do. We can see a little bit where we came from. We can see down this one valley. We can see sort of where we're headed. Like that's behind us. So it's a really great panorama view for a moment. We get off. You all had continued on, and I came down from this giant rock and was able to catch up. Right here, we could hear a raven croaking in the distance. This was not my first raven spotting here. I love it when I can hear ravens in the distance. So.
Mother.
Yeah, that's it.
We end up back on the trail, and it continues to wrap us up and around. For a moment, though, it does start a little bit of decline, and it is our first decline of the day. There are these beautiful manzanita trees, which manzanita trees we first saw in Big Bend National Park. We'd seen in other places, but they have this like really wild bark. It almost looks like, in the case of the bark when it's shedding, like muscles, like musculature, and it's very, very strange. And the trees themselves are pretty trees. Manzanita being like a little apple tree. We move through this section of the trail. As we're walking, Cynthia is also looking at plants and finds some pipestem clematis, which she was pretty excited about. Again, it's nice to have someone who's a nerd for plants on the trip.
Yes. As we continue here, the trail comes to a junction. To the right is a connector trail that we could have taken if we wanted to bypass the Bear Gulch Caves. So we could have taken that off of the Moses Spring Trail coming up. Since we decided not to do that, we did take the Bear Gulch Caves and went around and to the reservoir. We could have taken this trail, so we see now where this trail comes out, which glad we didn't do this, because then we would have missed that gorgeous panorama view. We would have missed the reservoir. But we did pass this junction, and we continued to the left on to the High Peaks Trail. Now, the High Peaks Trail is a very long trail, like in Pinnacles. Like, it covers a lot of area. However, there's two distinct sections. We are now entering the lower section of the High Peaks Trail. Later, we will find ourselves on the upper section of the High Peaks Trail. We take this and continue on.
And with that, let's take our first break.
Okay, Mike, we're playing Dinner Party. That's our game for today.
Great. Explain, please.
Typically, this game is played. It's so boring and tired and like just washed at this point.
Like you.
There it is. Which is...
washed up from all the alcohol.
You can have a dinner party and invite anybody, any 5 people from living or dead or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so... this is our riff on Dinner Party, which is, okay, so you're throwing a dinner party. You're allowed to bring 3 people who are alive to this dinner party, but it is to discuss a specific topic.
Oh.
So I'm going to give you the topic of the dinner party.
Should we talk amongst ourselves?
Sure.
That's a Linda Richmond callback
from
okay. Coffee Talk.
Got it. Should we talk amongst ourselves? Then you build the dinner party based on what's being discussed.
Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm giving you the topic of queer representation in media.
Oh, okay. Queer representation in media. All right. Well, I feel like that is not too difficult, only because I feel like there has been a lot more, especially in the last 10 years. I feel like there's been more of a spotlight on queer people in media, and in a way where it's more celebratory. It's not this like, oh my God, these people are gay. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like in the 90s, it was like this stop everything, Lance Bass is gay. But I mean, that was the early 2000s, right?
I think so. Yeah. That wasn't.
It wasn't like, it wasn't like this celebratory moment. It was more of like, it's like titillating news.
Yeah.
So I feel like now we've kind of moved past that.
Yes.
It's still like, obviously if someone comes out, it's still a big deal, especially if they, for a time where perhaps presenting otherwise. But I do feel like now it's more talking about their merits and working to celebrate them as people, as opposed to just being like gawky and salacious about their lives. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So I feel like there are some great people who've had to be in the spotlight this year, specifically this past year, 2025, because we are now recording firmly in the new year, that have had to have like their moment and their big moment in the spotlight. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it would be a disservice to not have Jonathan Bailey at this dinner party. He is a mega celebrity now. He was
the highest grossing actor of the year.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. The sexiest man alive.
And that's just according to us.
He is at kind of like...
Do you get it?
I do.
According to us.
I get it.
Thank you.
Us being you and me.
No,
I know it's the magazine.
Well, actually, it's People magazine, so it's not Us Weekly. But anyway, so that joke doesn't really work, but whatever.
It's because you're drunk again.
That's it. All the liquid courage that you've provided me.
So Jonathan Bailey is definitely someone who I feel like should be there. I do feel like we also need someone who that did come out in the late 90s, early 2000s, as someone who sort of was kind of paved the way a little bit, was able to understand the nuance of it, but also had a lot to deal with there. And no, it's not Ellen. It is, I'm going to say Rosie O'Donnell should probably be there as well, because she was also like a talk show, she had a lot of things happening. She was a mega popular talk show host on top of being an actress. So I do feel like she would be... But also, what a fascinating conversation between Jonathan Bailey and Rosie O'Donnell. And then I feel like it would be important to also have someone who is from the political spectrum and who is someone who is very savvy, on the news often, and had to do this as a part of his job as transportation secretary. And I feel like that's Pete Buttigieg, because he also is someone who constantly had to deal with media and is someone who has to work to navigate nuance in all ways. So,
Great. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a lovely dinner party.
Yeah. And so what about you?
Kind of immediately, the first person, because I just think he's fascinating and I want to hear more from him, is Billy Porter. And I would love to, talk to Billy Porter and just hear a little bit more about life, career, and everything. Another person that I would invite to my dinner party is Sasha Colby. She is the first trans woman to win RuPaul's Drag Race. And I think she has a lot to share and she has an incredible story. And I'm just curious how her story is reflected in media and what that means for media, what that has meant for her own career path when it comes to representing herself in media. Mm-hmm. And then the third, and then I think I'm going to include Ryan Murphy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Queen Mother.
He is a media creator.
Yeah.
And there's so much to unpack there. Obviously, he's worked with Billy Porter before too, and so I think it would be a really great conversation.
Great.
So that is that would be a small dinner party of 4 people. I think that would be a great chat.
Intimate.
And
that's dinner party. After this junction, we basically immediately start an ascent. It is an immediate incline. As we are traveling up, we see some birds, and we aren't really sure if they're condors or turkey vultures. And this is a very common confusion. We were constantly on the lookout for what one bird or the other was. We were calling the turkey vultures nondors instead of condors. Were saying that. What is the difference between the two? How can you spot the difference a little easier?
Okay, so one of the big reasons why people come to Pinnacles is to see the condors, because
the California condors.
California condors they were almost extinct, but through a rehabilitation program that partnered with the MPS, they were able to come back. They're still endangered.
Yeah.
There's a smaller population of them, but Pinnacles is one of the release areas, so you can see them. They are extremely similar looking to a turkey vulture. Now, we have to start this conversation by talking about turkey vultures versus black vultures, because oftentimes black vultures are mistaken for turkey vultures. A black vulture has a black head. And then a turkey vulture has a red head. And then a condor also has a red head. So turkey vultures, like actual turkey vultures, and California condors share that same coloring in that way. However, actual condors are way bigger.
Massive.
Than a turkey vulture. However, when you're looking at birds in the distance in the air, it's really hard to gauge size because you could be looking at a condor thinking it's a turkey vulture or vice versa. There is a bright white stripe of under feather when a condor is flying that is like extremely vibrant. And so that's kind of the thing you're looking for, because while turkey vultures do have some like whiter feathers in their underneath, it's not as like extremely defined as a condor. So, and also condors have longer wings. So that's the big thing that you're looking for. Now, the thing is, like, when you're standing where we are and they're out in the distance, you can't really see an underwing unless they're over you. Yeah. So you just have to go like, is it not? However, what we'll say here is that at this point, what Becky told us was that we needed to get very, very high because condors like to sit and roost in a little roosting spot. So we had to get up really high in order to see some of those roosting spots, to see if we might be able to spot some of them. That was where we were headed, because the High Peaks Trail does eventually lead to high peaks, which are the high pinnacles that you see when you park in the parking lot, that you see in the photos of Pinnacles. Like, you're hiking in and among those like big pinnacle
formations.
Sharp shin formation things that the park is known for. And that's where the condors like to hang out. So you're not going to see a condor near the visitor center.
No.
Because the condors like elevation, like really high up elevation. So they're not ground birds. They don't like to be anywhere near the ground. So we saw a bunch of birds that we were trying to identify. We ultimately determined that they were non-dors.
Non-dors, or turkey vultures. As we continue to walk, Cynthia spots some bush poppies, again, spotting other plants along the trail as we're moving.
We get to the first switchback, our first switchback of the day, because we are basically wrapping around this hill at this point. We've left the area that we came up. We're like bounding up. We kind of have to make our way. We have to curve around a bunch of hills to get up to the pinnacles. So we get to our first switchback of the day. The grade of the incline increases a little bit here, but this is the situation where like the surroundings the entire time, stunning, gorgeous, like seeing out into the distance, like Pinnacles on the right, Pinnacles on the left. It's definitely worth all of the work it is to get up here.
As we continue to walk, we have now firmly arrived in the switchback section. And suddenly there are a ton of switchbacks. We went from none to a preponderance of them. And all of the pinnacles here are still in view, and everything is incredibly stunning. It is all very worth it. But we are also working our tails off here.
So this is firmly in the middle of the High Peaks Trail lower section. While we're here, Cynthia also sees some 2-color rabbit tobacco, and she also spots some chia, which is where we get chia seeds from. We're including this obviously because Cynthia took notes and shared them with us. And we also have gotten feedback from some of you that are like, please tell me more plants that are on the trail. So we wanted to make sure to do that.
We get to a landing, and there is an open space and a rock beyond some bushes, and we head out onto this area. Becky's like, okay, photo shoot time. It's like pose.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It was like a big flat area that like, because it was definitely like a resting spot, because I would say like this is a pretty significant spot on the trail here, because we're about to start transitioning into High Peaks upper section, but this is like the last big sort of
sweeping lookout until we get to the top,
and sort of like this would be a great lunch spot for somebody, you know.
After we do our little photo shoot with our ballet moves, because we were playing around with your calling back to our time in Death Valley
when
all of your ballet positions.
Cynthia has a ballet background, and we were hiking with her, and she was like, oh, okay, so you think you know ballet? And it was like, I took many years of ballet. Yes, I do know some. And so
it was like Julia Stiles and Save the Last Dance.
Don't you dare. compare me to that nonsense. No, I have more respect for an audition rather than to do that. Anyway.
We continue on from here, and the trail wraps us around to the right. There are a lot of birds flying off to our left, and we do think, because they are a large mass of them, that they are most likely just turkey vultures, as opposed to a grouping of condors.
That's right. Turkey vultures do like to hang out together. Not that condors don't, but you don't see like you're not going to see like 20 condors in one spot. You're going to see maybe 2 or 3 at the most. But you could see 20 turkey vultures.
Yeah. As we continue to hike, Dusty meets some fellow hikers named Carol and Carolyn, and they had hiked Pinnacles many times, and they were on their yearly pilgrimage here.
That's right. It was lovely to chat with them. They were the ones who were like, honey, you're not seeing condors. I was so hopeful. They were like, no, those are just turkey vultures.
I mean, because this was your big thing. This was your moment.
This was like the thing about the trip I was excited about, because it was like, are we going to see them or not? And I had already told everybody, I was like, if we don't, it's okay. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, Becky obviously wanted to see them too, but that's how nature works. You might get all the way there and it may not work out.
Right. Or it might be 45 minutes before the geyser erupts again.
That's exactly right. But we do know, at least based on data and science, that geyser is going to erupt again.
It's true. So we continue on. We finally get up to a saddle. There's a bench here and a bathroom to the left, and we see a spot up to the right where we can venture out on to like park it and have some lunch, because we're kind of at this point, it's a little later in the day and we're definitely peckish right now.
That's right. This is like there's like a pit toilet that they built inside of this little like cabin bathroom. And so this spot here is the end of the High Peaks lower section and the beginning of the High Peaks upper section. There were a few more people here, and we did decide we're going to do lunch. So we like park it on the top of this rock and we just sort of hang out here for a bit. As we eat lunch, Becky mentions that right here in this little lunch spot that we have found, this was where she saw condors before. So we keep our eyes peeled while we're eating.
And we're looking around while we eat, but we don't see anything. We're not seeing condors anywhere.
So while we're sitting here, Becky told us a little bit about this too. As we said, like, seeing condors anytime is not a guarantee. We were hoping that we would, which is why we brought our binoculars. Bringing binoculars anytime you're looking at birds is great. Obviously, it helps you see them a little more up close than you would be able to otherwise. But with condors, it's particularly important because there's so much out that's so far. So you might be looking directly at a condor and not realizing it. So as we were looking around the area and seeing the pinnacles to our left and the pinnacles to our right, Becky specifically said, look at the spots where there are like white dripping down, because that is literally just condor poop, like, over time. And that's a roosting spot for them where they'll roost, you know, and then you can always pretty much count on a condor like parking it there at some point in time, because a condor has parked it there at some point.
It's a good spot for them. Yeah.
So they know they can hang out there. They know they've got like stability there, and maybe they've got some shade. Who knows? So we're scanning the area for those spots using our binoculars to look them up. That was what we spent lunch doing. So condors don't build nests. They lay eggs in small alcoves in the high rocks. So these white spots is like where they will have laid eggs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We do wrap up when we're, after sitting for a while, we do wrap up lunch. We reapply sunscreen because most of the day up until this point had been pretty overcast. But as we were starting to climb up to this lunch spot, it had started to become a little bit more blue sky. So we reapply, we make use of the facilities, and then we head to the right to continue to the High Peaks Trail for the upper section.
And with that, let's take our next break. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage
Charlie Chaplip.
Charlie Chaplip.
Mm-hmm.
I love this name.
Yeah.
Charlie is an androgynous name.
Sure is.
And so
I really like Charlie as a girl's name. I think is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Charlie as the name period is great. Yeah. I think that this
Charlie.
Could be. Yeah, exactly.
Give me a smile.
I think that this is an androgynous drag character. Charlie Chaplin, because sometimes I think they like run the gamut of being able to present extremely femme to like extremely masc. Like they kind of do whatever they want for the storytelling they're going for.
It's a Victor Victoria moment.
Yeah, totally. Where like the entire spectrum is available to them at any point in time. I think they definitely have some kind of Charlie Chaplin reference or homage, but Charlie Chaplin is I don't know, maybe maybe they have a recurring bit. This is my imagination. I'm running in this direction. Maybe they have a recurring bit. I always think it's so funny because my friend, she used to do this legitimately, but I always thought I was like, this is a perfect bit, which is when like something really intense would happen and then she would just immediately get her chapstick and put it on. It was so funny to me.
God,
like
as like sort of like a nervous tick almost. Or
as like you'd be like, oh my God, I have something incredibly important to tell you. You have to sit down, put on chapstick first. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, and I'm curious if like Charlie Chaplin has like a bit that they do like in the middle of like maybe they take a break in the middle of a song to just put on chapstick, something like that.
Well, I do feel like since I sang Cheer Up Charlie, whatever they're singing has to be like, it starts with that and then it goes into a mashup of something else.
I like that.
Some other, that sad song from...
That's a very sad song.
Mm-hmm.
I want like a club like dance remix to Cheer Up.
Choo, 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 choo.
Yeah, something like that to cheer up Charlie.
Choo, 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 choo.
Yeah.
Do, 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 do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Cheer Up Charlie to Together Again by Jackson.
Maybe. And then maybe we incorporate also the song Smile, Though Your Heart Is Breaking, which is written by Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Hello, it's all connected.
It's all connected. Sad, also sad.
Right. But think about if it were like on a dance floor, like a dance floor remix of that.
Oh, yeah.
Would be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
And I do
fun.
think obviously their merch is chapstick. How could it not be?
Yes. Or are they sponsored by a chapstick brand, or do they have their own brand? What do you think?
I think it's their own brand.
Okay.
I think it's like they're like our organic chapstick is made from the highest quality beeswax. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like whatever the ingredients of chapstick are. The menthol we utilize is pure balm, the Himalayas. Yeah, I do feel like they are a little crunchy too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think they're crunchy. I like this idea that they have their own chapstick line. They would probably have like just the regular beeswax chapstick. They'd probably have some with like SPF in it. I'm trying to think what else. I'm sure they'd have some that are honey flavored. Maybe they have I really like how some brands do the thing where they're like, this is an exclusive to the city or an exclusive to the blah. So maybe she has some that are like, or they have some that are exclusive to that show. I only sold this at this one show. I only had 15 of them made.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, let's get niche about chapstick.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Well, lip balm, I guess that's what we would call it.
Sure.
Because chapstick is a brand. Anyway, capitalism.
So, ladies and gentlethems, please welcome to the stage Charlie Chaplin.
So here we go. We are starting now on the upper section of the High Peaks Trail. We've been walking all day so far, or most of the morning, on the lower section of the High Peaks Trail. And now finally, we're on the upper section.
The trail continues to be clear, but it requires weaving in and around what are now pinnacle boulders, because we are way closer to the top at this point. And these trails are way more exposed, with a lot more moments of ledges, but not sheer drop-offs. This is not like an Angel's Landing situation where there's drop-offs on either side, but you have considerable elevation here.
Considerable elevation, ledges for sure, but at no point did I feel like I was like
in danger of falling
on Angel's Landing at any moment in time. And we're talking about Angel's Landing, which is found in Zion National Park. Also found in Zion National Park, condors. So we see a lookout point over to the right, and we stand there for a moment to take some photos. It was fun. Becky got a really great photo of us that kind of recreated our logo.
Our logo.
Because we do that from time to time where we recreate the logo. And so we stood over there. Now, again, this was a lot slower. This was upper section of the High Peaks Trail is not about long sweeping sections of trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like shorter, different, like in and out. I'm doing lots of different
rock
things.
stairs.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Some
we go.
More challenging things.
We get to this one section and you brought it up already, the rock stairs. So we have like curved and turned and made our way to this one section. There were two groups of hikers here. There was this group of 3 guys.
Yeah.
Who
were very broy.
Very broy. And I don't think they had hiking poles with them. And they only had sneakers on. And they bound their way up. We were like, y'all can go ahead. So they bound their way up the stairs first, because it was these rock stairs that were not, this was not like a staircase that like multiple people could walk. It was like extremely narrow, one person at a time, scramble, use your hands, use your, there were some railings built in, but not at every part. And so it took like a lot of careful navigating in order to get up this one section. Essentially, you basically have to heave yourself up from like the bottom of a boulder to the top of a section of boulders to get to the next trail part.
Not like a terribly, there's height, but it's not like, it wasn't terribly high.
Correct. But it was something that you really had to do.
And it was complicated enough that you had to take your time with it.
Now, this was the part I wanted to bring up next, which was there were 2 other hikers who showed up behind us, who were hiking behind us. And one of them, I'm not kidding you, she was in flip-flops. And I was like, at this point, this is a safety situation. I'm like, oh no, flip-flops? And we climbed up one at a time, this little, stair section. And then we watched them and they struggled. We did everything we could to help them. Becky was the last one up. She's giving them advice on like, put your foot there, try here, move your arm here. This was definitely a situation of like, didn't have the right foot gear.
No.
Right? There are really wonderful, gently used places for gear online. Highly recommend them because, if you can't get new hiking shoes or hiking boots, get some used ones because they're available. People donate them all the time. So hopefully there's a solution out there for those who like maybe want or have the ability to go to Pinnacles but can't get the footwear.
Yeah. Yeah. But boots, definitely,
Boots, for sure.
Because we sort of, at this point, are at the pinnacle, if you will, of the trail. We're at the kind of the height that we're going to hit for the day. So we do have a little bit more panorama here once we've reached the top of these stairs.
We do. And it's great because we're finally at like, I would say like the center of the upper section of the High Peaks Trail. So we're looking around and Becky is sort of like scoping out the area and she points over to this one rock. And she was like, right over there. So we sort of make our way over there. By the time we sit down on this one rock that's sort of jutting out, but there's plenty of space, not feeling like we're on a ledge. There's some other rocks nearby. We see those 3 guys. And then there's some other people over to the right. And she said, okay, we're just going to sit here. We're going to sit here for a little while and we're going to see if condors show up. And we do sit there for a while. This is your favorite thing because
it's waiting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so American of you to hate that.
Yeah, thank you. I guess that is true. Yes.
So like condors ourselves, we perched and we waited.
And we pooped.
And it rolled off the rocks. No, we did wait. And, we were hoping that something would happen. And it's around, I don't know, it's a little after 12 noon at this point. This is the moment Becky was telling me later. She was like, I'm sweating in this moment because I'm like, this is the only spot where we'll probably see some. And we didn't. We sat there for about 20 minutes and didn't see anything. We're looking around in our binoculars. We're looking into the distance. We're like, is that one? No, it's not. Is that something? No, it's a vulture. Is that something? No. And then, like in a moment of absolute like glorious drama, off of these 2 peaks above us emerged at the same time, like they showed up for the 12:30 show. These 2 enormous condors appeared. Obviously, you'll need to listen to our next full-length episode.
It's true.
So, but let's put the High Peaks lower section and the High Peaks upper section on the Karen Stone scale. I'm okay with calling it the High Peaks Trail, and giving it 1 score. And I'm giving it a 7.
Okay. My inclination was a 6. There, I feel like there is, from the reservoir up to this point, you gain a lot of elevation. I don't feel like it gets challenging until kind of that part where we have to climb up that one big ramp area, and then before we got to the stairs towards the top that were very narrow, I feel like that becomes the most challenging section. I feel like the grunt work of the ascent is decent, and then you have this kind of like cherry on top at the top of that is definitely pushes it over the edge past a 5 for me.
Definitely. I say 7 only because it's not that long. I think in total, just this section, which will give you the mileage in the next episode, but in total for that section, it was only like 3.5 to 4 miles.
Yeah.
That we walked from like the reservoir up to like this spot where we're like sitting and looking at birds.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem all that long, but when it's all incline, it's a lot.
And especially that last little section is tricky. Those stairs we will encounter other stairs on the next episode. The stairs that we had to climb up, I would not have wanted to go down because it just is the angle's weird. It's not fun. I think just those as an ascent are tricky enough. So imagining it as the descent.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. So with that is a 13 out of 20 Karen Stones. For the High Peaks Trail.
And now let's end this episode like we end all of our full-length episodes with some Jeopardy-style trivia.
All right, Mike, why don't I get us started today with Jeopardy-style trivia?
Great. Please
Shall
do.
I?
Please.
Okay, so I'm very excited about this category because I was inspired by the fact that we saw a whole bunch of turkey vultures that we thought were condors, but they in fact were not. Non-doors. So in the vein of non-doors, this category is called commonly confused birds.
Great.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, for 100. Well, you may think you are being visited by Hugin or Noonan, the ravens on their way back to perch on Odin's shoulders and tell him the goings-on in the world that day. You may be seeing a larger variety of this more common corvid.
What's a crow?
Correct. So many people see crows, think they're ravens. It's just not true. They're smaller. You'll know it's a raven, girl. It's huge, and it will look into your soul like it knows you.
Nevermore.
Correct. For 200, while walking in your neighborhood, you might see a common grackle. That's one of Mike's favorite birds because it just sits there grackling all day long. With its mostly black feathers and dark aqua blue head feathers. But you might mistake this for another bird, considered an invasive species in the U.S., and sounds like a category for someone like Sophia Loren, Olivia Colman, Isabella Rustellini, or any other performers from this continent from across the pond.
What is European starling?
That is correct.
Which we heard a lot of them.
We did in Rome.
In Italy, yeah.
When we were in Rome, there was like a whole tree full of them. You can always tell it's them. They do the same thing here.
Yeah.
They, gather. I love them. They are gorgeous. They have gorgeous feathers like
they can
in
do
winter
no wrong.
and spring. For 300, you're doing great so far.
Thanks. You taught me well.
If you were walking on a trail and saw a splash of blue fly across the way, you may be seeing a blue grosbeak, but you may think you're seeing this other all-blue bird whose name sounds like you're setting up a party for the band who sings Closer to Fine and Galileo.
What is an indigo bunting?
Correct. There we go. Indigo, like the Indigo Girls. Bunting, like something you set up for parties. Bunting. Okay, for 400. The all-red summer tanager is often confused with this other mostly red bird with black wings who shares part of their name with a character from Clue, who was played by Leslie Ann Warren in the film.
What is a scarlet tanager?
That is correct. That is correct. And for 500... the sharp-shinned hawk, covered in white and light brown feathers, is often confused for this other raptor of the same variety, who sounds like it was named for the son of Gloria Vanderbilt, her New Year's Eve host and CNN's 360 host.
What was the first bird called?
A sharp-shinned hawk.
What is an Anderson hawk? What is a Cooper hawk?
There you go.
Okay.
What is a Cooper's hawk?
Okay.
There you go.
Cooper's hawk.
You did it. You got all of them right.
Great. Well, I also was playing around with animals for this category.
Look at that.
So
Okay, for the record, everybody, I mean, we say this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We write a category of Jeopardy-style trivia for one another. We've done that the entire time. And for the record, I just want everybody to know, we write these. There is no AI consultation when it comes to the writing of these categories. We write these ourselves.
Yeah.
Based on our knowledge and actual research that we do, not from an AI generator. Thank you very much. This show outdates AI generators. And
true.
So none of those
Predates.
are ever predates. None of those are ever consulted at all.
My category is called, since we're seeing California condors here, it's called stately animals. So each of these animals has a state's name.
I'm very excited about this.
The name of the animal.
Great. So what is the Jersey Devil?
Exactly. For 100, this sea mammal that has been on a tear sinking billionaires' boats has this PNW state capital Olympia as the first part of its name.
What is a Washington orca?
That's
or
correct.
A Washington killer whale?
Washington orca.
I
Correct.
need them to keep working because they've taken a break, and I need them to get back to it.
For 200, this soft-shelled or king variety of this bottom dweller with a cool color descriptor also has this Atlantic seaboard state capital Annapolis as the first part of its name.
What is a Maryland blue crab?
That's correct.
Also, those are sometimes made for eating, correct, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
They're delicious, but also gorgeous. Beautiful.
And then we eat them. Yeah, not great. For 300, this Midwest state, capital Jefferson City, is the first part of the name of this working animal, the love child of a donkey and a horse.
What is a Missouri mule?
That's correct.
Look at that.
Which sounds like it could be a drink, too.
It does sound like it could be a drink, too.
But I'm surprised you weren't the one to bring that up.
Well, right. Well, you're the one, again, it's
projection.
I am entirely, you just hand them to me, and you provide the liquid courage.
For 400, this four-legged, antlered giant of the forest has this northernmost state, capital Juneau, as the first part of its name.
What is an Alaskan moose?
That's correct. And for 500, this protruding state, which often makes headlines and decides elections with the capital of Tallahassee, is the first part of the name of this big cat, which also has an NHL team named after it in the same state and a football team named after it in the Carolinas.
What is the Florida panther?
Correct.
That was a great clue writing, girl.
Thanks.
I had so much fun with that category.
Wonderful.
No compliments for my clue writing.
Looking for more episodes like the one you just heard? Then be sure to check out our episode finder for episodes by park, state, hiking difficulty, and terrain, as well as all of our Trail Mix episodes in one helpful place. Click the link in the show notes of this episode, our Instagram bio, or visit our website to make your listening experience even easier.
This has been Gaze at the National Parks, the podcast, and we're here to remind you to hike early and hike often, and that adventure is always out there.
Gaze at the National Parks was created, produced, edited, and hosted by us,
Dustin Ballard
and Michael Ryan.
To see images from this episode, follow our Instagram at Gaze at the National Parks. To contact us, email us at gazeatthenationalparks@gmail.com. And to find out more about the parks visited on this show, visit our website, gazeatthenationalparks.com. That's Gaze, G-A-Z-E.
All original artwork featured on Instagram and on our website is by me, Michael Ryan.
All original music was written and performed by Dave Seaman and Mariella Klinger, with Sean Sklios on guitar. Our music producer is Skylar Fortgang.
We would also like to acknowledge that while recording this episode that we were on the traditional and stolen lands of the Lenape people, also known as New Jersey.